to another session of Miss Thomas Learning from Home. Today we're going to have a look at the Indian Wars, which took place between 1861 to 1877. Now at the top I'm going to start off with the three main kind of causes and contextual information you need to know that are facing the Native Americans at this time. First of all, ecological problems. The Native Americans are living on the plains along with white settlers now. Homesteaders, ranchers and the railroad has all led to an increase of white settlers there. There is lack of food and resources there, which causes tension. Secondly, the US government are forcing more and more treaties upon the Native Americans. Things to do with food, shelter. The Native Americans are having to adapt their way of life and compromise on the plains. This all leads to an increase of violence and fear. There's a huge racist belief against the Native Americans and ignorance, which leads to quite a lot of fear due to the increase of violence. So today I'm going to discuss these three Native American battles, and then the fourth one being one that you must learn. I haven't added dates, but these work chronologically, so I'm just going to discuss through each battle with you. So first of all, Little Crow, very badly drawn. I want to draw your attention to his face. He hasn't got a beak, but that sad face. That sad face represents that this was a loss for the Santee Sioux tribe under Little Crow. It all starts off with this land. The Native Americans, the Santee Sioux, are pushed off of their land. 2 days later, they attack and they rebel, with 300 tribesmen being killed. Within only a matter of minutes, the rest of the tribe are either sent to jail or forced onto a reservation. Now, a reservation means a small sectioned off piece of land that destroys the Native American culture of nomadic, of hunting for the buffalo, of moving around for their food. Okay, I'm going to move on now to Sand Creek. So, just like the results of Little Crow, the Cheyenne tribe are forced into a reservation to begin with. This leads to a lack of food and rising levels of starvation because they are no longer able to be nomadic and hunt for their food. It leads to violence. The Cheyenne tribe then go to a local white settlement and end up raiding it for food. Now this results in the white settlers setting up what is known as the 3rd Regiment. The 3rd Regiment is set up to defend and attack the Cheyenne tribe for 100 days. However, they don't do that, which is why they're known as the Bloodless Third, here represented in red with the blood drops dripping off. However, this all changes when one member of the Cheyenne tribe decides that he is going to go further and not only attack the village, but kill one of the white settlers. This leads to conflict between the white settlers and that Cheyenne tribe, known as Sand Creek. Black Kettle, the leader of the Cheyenne tribe, demands peace, and it's reported that he waved the American flag to try and symbolise that peace, which is why I've got the peace symbol in the flag there. However, that does not work, and it results in 105 women and children being killed from the Cheyenne tribe, with 28 men as well, all from that Cheyenne tribe. Overall, Chivington is actually seen as a hero and it's seen as a success for the white Americans, hence why it's a failure for the Native Americans. However, in the long term, a US government report is put into this battle at Sand Creek, and actually it's seen as a massacre. 6 of his men, Chivington's men, are arrested and they are seen to be waving scalps of the Native Americans, and they also attach the genitalia of Native Americans to their hats as a way of showing their victory, and the US government in the long term deemed the Sand Creek massacre as a success for the Native Americans, as they had been mistreated by the US. I'm going to move on now to the 3rd battle, the Red Cloud. Red Cloud is seen as a majority of a success to the Native Americans. It was caused by gold being found on their land in Montana. Therefore, the Lakota Sioux had an influx, an increased number of white settlers coming onto their land, which broke the Fort Laramie Treaty. Consequently, we see conflict. When this conflict arises, they ask for peace. 80 soldiers are killed within the battle, US soldiers, not Native Americans like Sand Creek, and they are granted their land back at the end. So although the Fort Laramie Treaty was broken in the first place, they are given additional land and their land is protected at the end, meaning it is a victory. Now, out of Little Crow, Sand Creek and Red Cloud, I would suggest you learn 2 of these. The final battle that you need to know is part of the Sioux Wars, and it's the Battle of Little Bighorn. Initially a success for the Native Americans, long-term a negative. Now this is all to do with General Custer, a US general army. Some people remember him with General Custard, but do not put his name as General Custard. His name is General Custer. Now he's outnumbered 6,000 to 1,800 Native Americans, so hugely outnumbered. But what he does have on his side is the fact that he has cavalry. He has horses, so he uses his horses to round and outflank the Native American tribe. However, he's still outnumbered 4-1. Now this means that he has to flee and they end up going back up the hill because they're totally outnumbered. Custer is killed in the battle, and it goes all the way through the winter, with the Native Americans suffering with food shortages and shelter issues. So, although it's an initial success because the Native Americans are able to keep their land and their territory, in the long term, the Native Americans are punished through reservation policy, the Dawes Act, but also through a loss of culture and a loss of their land and their way of life, which we will look at in another video. I hope that makes sense.